The boy sat on the floor of the public library, legs crossed, sneakers scuffed, surrounded by papers that didn't belong to him. His name was Isaiah Coleman. He was 10 years old. Outside, rain tapped softly against the tall windows. Inside, the library hummed with the quiet confidence of knowledge rows of books, the faint buzz of fluorescent lights, the occasional cough or turning page. Isaiah wasn't supposed to be here this late. His mom worked the night shift at the hospital. When her babysitter canceled, she brought Isaiah with her and dropped him off at the library across the street. "Don't wander," she said, kissing his forehead. "And don't bother anyone." "Yes, ma'am," Isaiah replied, already reaching for a book. Isaiah loved puzzles. Not jigsaw puzzles, real ones. The kind with numbers, patterns, questions that didn't have answers yet. He liked problems that made grown-ups sigh. That evening, he wasn't reading a kid's book. He was staring at a stack of printed research papers someone had forgotten on. A table, big words, strange symbols, dense paragraphs. Across the top of the first page, a title caught his eye. Unresolved Mathematical Compression Problem. Open since 1987. Isaiah sounded out the word slowly. Solved, he whispered. That means nobody fixed it yet. He flipped the page. There were graphs, equations, notes scribbled in the margins at the bottom. A sentence jumped out at him. Despite decades of work by leading researchers, a general solution remains unknown. Isaiah's eyebrows lifted. Decades, he murmured. That's longer than my mom's been alive. He dragged the papers closer. The problem was about data compression. How to pack information more efficiently without losing meaning. Phones, satellites, medical scans, everything depended on it. The smartest people in the world had tried to crack it and failed. Isaiah didn't know what a PhD was. He didn't know the names attached to the papers. Professors from MIT, Stanford, Oxford. What he saw was something else, a pattern that felt wrong. He grabbed a pencil from his backpack. Why are they doing it like that? He whispered. Hours passed. The librarian glanced over occasionally, puzzled by the small boy muttering to himself. Drawing boxes and arrows, erasing, starting again. Isaiah wasn't solving it the way the papers did. He was breaking it down like Lego pieces. "What if," he said softly, "you don't compress the data first?" He scribbled faster. "What if you look for the repeats after?" Something clicked. His heart started racing. He rearranged the equations, not with advanced math, but with logic, shapes, simple ratios. A shortcut hiding in plain sight. The answer unfolded so cleanly it scared him. Isaiah sat back, staring at the page. "That was easy," he said, confused. The next morning, he slid the papers back onto the table where he'd found them, added his own page on top, neatly written, labeled, "I think this works." Then he went to school. 3 days later, Dr. Evelyn Park stormed into the library. She was a visiting researcher from Caltech, one of the minds that had been wrestling with the compression problem for years. She'd left her papers behind during a late-night work session. Now, she stood at the same table, staring at the top page. "What is this?" she whispered. Her eyes scanned the handwritten notes. Her breath caught. The equations were rearranged, simplified, elegant. Her hands began to shake. "No," she said. "No." She pulled out her phone, frantically checking the logic. It worked. Not partially. Completely. She sank into the chair. "Who did this?" she breathed. The librarian approached cautiously. "Is something wrong?" "Wrong?" Dr. Park laughed, hysterical. "This solves it. This solves the entire thing." The librarian blinked. A child was sitting there the other night. Quiet kid. About this tall. She gestured. Dr. Park's heart slammed. "A child," she repeated. That afternoon, Isaiah was called to the principal's office. He thought he was in trouble. His palms were sweaty as he sat in the chair, feet not touching the floor. A woman he'd never seen before stood up when he entered. She looked stunned. "You're Isaiah?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am," he said quickly. "I'm Dr. Evelyn Park," she said softly. "Did you write this?" She held out his page. Isaiah squinted. "Oh yeah, I didn't mean to take it. I just borrowed it." Dr. Park laughed, tears filling her eyes. "You solved the problem?" she said. "That has defeated some of the smartest people in the world for over 30 years. Isaiah frowned. "Really?" "Yes," she said firmly. "Really, but I just moved things around," he said. It looked like he wanted to be simpler. Silence filled the room. Dr. Park knelt in front of him. "Isaiah," she said, voice trembling. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" He shook his head. She smiled through tears. "You just changed the future of data science." Within weeks, Isaiah's solution was verified, peer-reviewed, and published. The academic world exploded. How did we miss this? It's so obvious. Now a 10-year-old. This is humbling. News vans parked outside his school. Reporters shoved microphones toward him. "How does it feel to make history?" one asked. Isaiah shrugged. "I just didn't know I wasn't supposed to try." He said he was invited to conferences, standing on stages where Nobel laureates sat in the audience. But the moment that mattered most came one night at home as Mom sat at the kitchen table reading an article about his son, hands shaken. "Baby," she whispered, pulling him into a hug. "I'm so proud of you." Isaiah rested his head against her chest. "I just like figuring things out," he said years later. Textbooks would include his name, algorithms would change, technology would move faster, cheaper, better, and people would still talk about the moment a 10-year-old saw what experts couldn't, not because he was smarter, but because he wasn't afraid to see the problem differently. The moral lies quietly inside his story. Never assume brilliance must look a certain way or come from a certain place. Sometimes history changes not because someone knows more, but because they dare to ask simpler questions, with a mind untouched by limits the world insists on teaching.